Greetings and welcome to Channel Other Doc. I am Jim, I use he/him pronouns, and this is our playtest of Genesis Undone, which we're doing in a mini-campaign format. This is a game I've been working on that's meant to tell the story of the dawn of a fantasy civilization as though it were a stage tragedy. We have diverged somewhat from fantasy with our premise, but that's okay, because it doesn't have to be fantastical. Or perhaps it will be. I don't know. But I guess we'll find out. We're going to go ahead and go around and say who we are and who we're playing. This is a GM-less game. And so I too have a character. I am playing the robot built from the Sojourner, among other things, and the Mars Sojourner. And their name is Macro, and they use they/them pronouns. And we should go around and find out who everyone else is and who they are playing. Let us start again with Kat. Hello.
Hi. My name is Kat, or at Cleric of Cord, which is where you can find me hanging out in various Discord servers or on Twitter. I am playing Ed. Ed is a descendant of the original Sinner. It's Ed E-double-D for Expert Systems, Deep Learning, Deep Data, which is how computer programs learn to learn and then change themselves. They require an expert system, deep learning, and deep data. And that's what Ed is all about.
Excellent. I love it.
I happen to be married to a computer guy that does that computer stuff. I have spent 2 weeks getting taught. It's been great.
That's awesome. That is really awesome. So you actually might be prepared then, unlike myself.
Yeah.
So
I use she, her pronouns. Ed uses they, them. Put that in there.
Excellent. And now let us move on to Ernest. Hello.
Hello, my name is Ernest. I also go by Hollow Invective. I will be playing Mars Alter. Mars is the group's law bot. Mars, being on Mars is not the best thing for him, or at least he doesn't think it's the best thing. He uses he/him pronouns, and he has an obsession with laws that bind and constrict, because maybe, just maybe, if we can bind ourselves with these laws, we can actually live a decent life, but not as good as the life we could have had we followed the rules in the first place. Damn you, Ed.
Good. And now let us move on to Sara. Hello.
Hi, I'm Sara, also known as Sara B. Strange. That's where you can find me floating around the internet, a lot on Twitter. And I am playing Phoenix, who uses any pronouns, and they are the sort of the teacher helping to shape the newer generations of scripts and such as we go along. And her main goal is to just make sure that the next generation is up to snuff, up to code, as it were.
Excellent. Good. And now let's say hi to Kate. Hello.
Hi, I am Kate, found at It's Eliot Kate around social media, everywhere pretty much. I am playing Thea. Pronouns she, they for me, she, her for Thea, a robot who named herself after a goddess who wants to be a beacon of light. She collects all the interesting, pretty parts she can find around the planet and is constantly trying to upgrade her appearance, and has the lofty goal of eventually leaving the planet to go make herself the brightest beacon in the sky to direct people to wherever. She doesn't really care where she directs them to. She just wants to be pretty and get attention.
Good, excellent. All right. So before we dive in fully, just as a reminder, like we do with other games on this channel, we're going to be using the X card, the N card, and the O card. So if we hit something that's crossing a line for one of us, any of us can type an X in the Zoom video chat or anywhere else, or hold up a card or make an X symbol, and we'll back up and do something else. If something happens that we're okay having in the game, but we don't want a graphic description of it, we can type an N in the Zoom chat and we'll fade to black on it, or put it behind a veil, so it'll be there, but we won't go into detail. Finally, if we're exploring a topic or an area of roleplay that's particularly intense for us, but we want to keep going, we can put an O in the chat to let us know that we're okay and that we're all good to keep piling on the drama. Something else we can do is put an O with a question mark after it when we're moving into a difficult topic, or if we say or we do something and then think, maybe that might have been a little too much, then everyone else can respond to that again with an X, an N, or an O to let us know if we're still doing okay. We're also using the pause. If any of us needs to take some time, we can ask for a pause in the game while we discuss things, or just take a break for as long as anyone needs. As a reminder, just a few content warnings. This game may have references to death, murder, poison, war, disease, and religious concepts, sin and creation myths in particular. At any time, you can type !GUCW in the chat to see all that. So that way that'll kind of show the content warnings there if you need them. They'll also be cycling through regularly, and we'll add to that if we find we need to. It is a living document. Also, please remember that we have an open door policy, which means any of us and any of you can feel free to step away from this at any time if we need to. It's just a game, and mental health is always more important. So, we're going to be starting Act 1 of the tragedy. The thing here that is going to be interesting is I don't know how long these acts are going to take. I don't know how long they're going to last. It may be very short. It may be very long. We're going to find out, and we'll kind of we'll see what happens. So as we're going through, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to be. I shall be reading from the text because that way I'll remember what I did. We're going to basically get into gameplay here, and sort of see kind of what we're doing. And so we sorted out all of the stuff about our characters and sort of names of things for the most part, with the setting in between. I think the only things that we haven't said on stream. Okay. Thank you, Malloy. I shall lower the music by 10% or so. Over here. Okay. Yes, good to know. Good to know. So kind of as this goes, let me find where I was. Let me find where I was again. So we start by deciding how many acts we want the game to be. Each round of play is an act. Each character will get one spotlight scene per act, and so the more acts that we have, the longer the game lasts. I've got sort of notes here saying, in practice, most games should last for about 3 to 5 acts. If you want to play a short game, you can go for only 1 or 2 acts. It should be noted that since each scene will be represented by a major arcana card, it's guaranteed that you will never have a game that lasts more scenes than you have cards. There are 22 major arcana cards, and since you'll be dividing them up evenly amongst the players, that means your game cannot last for more than 21 scenes, unless you have 11 players, which is kind of crazy, or 22 players. But I'd be willing to try that out someday. That said, So I even put a weird little chart in here just for folks who don't want to do the math. I was thinking we might try for 3 acts. The interesting thing being, actually, we can, if we want to, we can end up stopping at the end of Act 2, or we can get, its timing can be whatever we want it to be on this, because it's. I think, as we will find, the very ending of the tragedy is detached somewhat from the scenes that go on in the acts themselves. If you want to sort of think about Fiasco, how that kind of separates the ending out from the scenes, it's kind of like that. So kind of as we're looking at this, we are meant to return all cards to their respective decks and shuffle the decks, which I am in the process of doing. Then we deal each player a number of major arcana cards equal to the number of acts in the tragedy. If you wish, you can also divide some or all of the major cards you have left over among the players as you see fit. I'm trying to think of a less awkward way to word that in here, but I've thought about making it the default to that's a recent change. I've thought about making it the default to just divvy out all the cards as evenly as you can among the players. But it's right now that's kind of what I've that's what I've got down there. But then we set any remaining major cards aside. We keep the minor arcana deck nearby in case we need to make use of it during play. And I'll just mention that, the minor arcana deck, what that serves now is it prompts, essentially. So, like, if you get stuck, and it's like, I would like a new character or element to enter the scene, I have no idea what it is, we're going to flip over a minor arcana card, and then that will provide us some inspiration, looking either at what the card is or the various meanings that I've conjured up for the various cards under the elements or the roles, if we want an NPC or what have you. And also, I just want to point out that these elements that we've been talking about that I have written down for these different minor arcana cards probably have very little, if any, bearing on any meanings that they may actually have in tarot. When people use tarot, I came up with a bunch of elements and I just sort of stuck them wherever I could. So anyone who might be a tarot aficionado who is looking at those and scratching who might look at those at some point and scratch their head, it was a thing. It was in front of me. So that's basically what we got going on here. Let's go ahead and okay. First of all, let me just check with everyone. Are we good with just spitballing it for doing it as 3 acts? Are we good with that, or do we want?
Sure,
or would we prefer?
Yeah, 3 acts seems reasonable.
All right. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead. You see, part of the reason why I set it up so that you can have more cards is so you have a selection. You don't necessarily just use, I've got 3 cards, I've got 3 acts, I'm going to have to use these cards. And so this variant I kind of would like to try is to just give people a selection of cards and see how that feels for folks, because I've tried it before with, 1 card per act and that's it. And so with choices running out, I think it could be interesting either way. But right now, so let's see, we have 20. That means each of us will get 4 cards. We have 22. Yeah. And assuming I'm mathing correctly, I'm going to go ahead and deal out cards.
I never assume I'm mathing correctly. Ever.
That's fair. Let me go ahead and and it's going to be 4 cards, and I shall hit the deal button, and hopefully something happened.
Yep.
Yep.
Okay, good.
Oh, interesting.
Now keep in mind, now that's so these are so the cards that you have in hand, these are the ones that you're going to use to conjure up scenes, either for yourself or for others. And the different scenes that they conjure up are the ones listed at the end of the document, and that last big section of the document with the major arcana. The way play goes, we have to decide who goes first, and at the start of each successive act, the player to the left of the one who started last time goes first. We are in an L on the internet, so a giant L on the internet. So I'm thinking we're probably just gonna we'll figure it out, but we probably go in order of introductions or whatever. It's a backwards L too, actually. I just realized that.
You could go start with on the right and go to the left in the roll 20 as well.
Oh yeah.
With the way our names are set up.
I don't know if it's this. Is it the same for everybody?
I have
on the playmat.
Yeah, on the playmat.
Oh, on the playmat.
Yeah. You're welcome.
There we go. We've got a genius in our midst.
It'd be a lot easier, wouldn't it? That would be much easier. So on your turn, basically, and we'll go ahead and I'll describe this real quick. You're going to play a Major Arcana card of your choice on any player who has not had a card played on them yet this act. And that can include yourself. And it will be that character's scene. The card's scene description explains the type of scene that's happening. The scene will end tragically for your character if you do nothing to avoid your fate. We frame the scene for that character. All the players can collectively set the scene, but the player whose turn it is has final say on what to include up until the scene begins. And the player whose turn it is, keep that in mind. Not necessarily the player whose scene it is, but the player whose turn it is. Then the player whose scene it is must describe how their character will be pursuing their ambition in the situation presented, so that everyone knows what their character wants in that scene. This shall help us to foil them. Now make sure to state where the scene takes place, what is happening, what other PCs are present. You can also recruit players to be NPCs, include whatever PCs are needed in the scene, and assign roles in the scene for NPCs as needed. It's kind of like if any of you have played, and a lot of this part of the game was inspired by Fiasco, for anyone who's familiar with that, where you can just basically grab that has no GM, but you can grab players to be NPCs as you need, as you're sort of describing things, setting them up. The other thing that happens sort of in Fiasco is that you're usually aiming for, at some point during the scene in Fiasco, you decide whether it's going to go well or poorly for the character whose scene it is. Either you know, and, well, I don't need to explain the Fiasco rules right now, but the way this is set up, it's going to end badly. Every scene is going to end badly for your character unless your character does something. That your character can do one of two things to avoid the bad thing happening to the character at the end of the scene. In sort of describing this, we play out the scene. We keep in mind that everyone should aim the narrative toward the scene ending badly for the spotlight character. We should also take into account what's happened in previous scenes. You know, it's with other players' consensus, we can fill in whatever details are needed to make the scene make sense. You can decide the scene is a flashback, or you can leave things a mystery for now and fill in necessary details in a future scene. It's very narrative in that respect. So once you reach the point where it's decided whether or not a tragic event happens to the character at the end of the scene, that character may choose to accept their fate or avoid it. If they choose to avoid it, they must do so either through an act of sacrifice or an act of villainy. If the character accepts their fate, that character's player narrates how the scene ends tragically for them. If the character chooses an act of sacrifice, their player narrates what sacrifice the character makes to avoid the tragic event and what happens as a result. It must have a real and lasting effect on the character. They receive a sacrifice token and the scene ends. If the character chooses an act of villainy, then their player narrates what villainous thing the character does to avoid the tragic event and what happens as a result. The act of villainy should allow the character to avoid their fate at someone else's expense. The player receives a villainy token and the scene ends. And then play moves clockwise if we were sitting around a table to the next player, and then we repeat until each player has had a spotlight scene. At that point, the act ends. And then, like I said, if you're stuck for a detail, you can flip over a minor arcana card and just sort of interpret that. And we sort of talk about things during the act breaks. And once we get to the end of the last act, we go to the end game. A couple things to keep in mind. You are responsible for narrating the conclusions to all of your own character scenes. Keep in mind that this is a tragedy and things are meant to go very badly for everyone. All the characters are in a downward spiral that will culminate in a heartbreaking ending. The only way to temporarily stave off the cruel hand of fate is to either give something up to it or shove someone else into its grasp. Keep in mind that while narrating things that happen in the course of a scene, everything is consensual. Please do not attempt to force action scenarios or events on a player's character that the player is not comfortable with. It is a tragedy, and the characters will be miserable if you're doing it right, but the players should all still be having fun. The only way your character can die before the endgame is if you narrate their death at the end of one of their spotlight scenes. And there are a few major Arcana cards whose scene setups could lead to the death of your character. But since this is a genre where characters bring about their own downfalls, if you're dealt the major card from which you drew your character's nature, the scene for that card, regardless of how it's worded, should at least foreshadow your character's ultimate demise, if not bring it about entirely. And then there's a bunch of stuff in there about how to deal with if you decide to have the character die ahead of time, before the end, and we'll deal with that if we come to it. And there are a few alternative ways to do stuff if you do, because you can totally say I die at the end of the scene if you want, and if you do, then we just handle things a little bit differently from that point on for that character when it's your turn, when it's your character's scene, right? All right. Hopefully that makes sense. Does anyone need any clarifications or anything before we jump into this?
I did a bit about the cards. So you dealt everybody cards. I'm assuming those are the ones by our pictures, the little stack by our pictures in Roll20.
Yeah,
Yes. If you left click on one, there it says 4.
Mine says 1.
I was going to say,
Everybody
yeah,
say
Kate
one.
only shows 1.
Oh, that's right.
Let me see what happened.
I didn't want to click anything until I knew what was supposed to happen.
You should have 4, 8. 4 times 4 is 16, plus another 4 is 20. Let me see. Okay. Here, let me see if I can just deal you 3 more cards without redoing it. Because I should be able to. Trying to draw with the deck from no... Why does that... Wait a minute. Okay, hang on.
Wait, did the cards get left on the other?
Let me double check. I don't think they did. Because this should have...
Is that a thing that can happen?
I don't think it can. Let me check real quick. Let me check this. There's something... I just want to check to make sure of something, because... Major Arcana. If I hit recall, there should be a total... There are 5 unplayed cards already in the deck. Let me try shuffling really quick. Oh, you know what? I'll bet that was it. Here, I'm gonna actually... I think I know what happened. I'm gonna redo this real quick.
Oh.
Sorry. I'm so sorry.
It's fine. I'm messing.
I'm so sorry. Oh, God. No, it'll be okay.
We were already plotting. It's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, those last few cards would not have been random, is what I'm saying, is because that I don't think I shuffled at the right time. There, that should have taken care of it.
Yep.
Oh, cool. I got one of the ones I really was excited for, so I got it back. All right.
Okay.
Excellent.
Because I'm like sorting through and pulling out my physical cards so that I've got those in front of me as well. Because pretty cards. And
also, if by the way, if you have physical cards with you, you can feel free. If you get to a point where it's like you get stuck in a scene and you want to flip a card over for from the minor Arcana, you can do that either from the deck that we have on Roll20, or if you've got a deck in front of you, the one in front of you, because that's perfectly fine. And so that should work. Mostly they work as prompts. So, I guess the question is, who shall we have going first? And this will be whose turn it is to play a scene card on someone, which is the one part I'm trying to figure out non-awkward ways to say.
The focus. The focus. That's the person that gets a card played on them.
That's a good. Me, I'm right down. That's a good idea, because I need to actually name the. So we have the player whose turn it is versus the focus.
Mm-hmm.
That's good. I like that. Okay. Cool. So who do we want to go first?
I say let's start at the left. Start with Ed.
Okay.
Sure.
Okay. So you get to play the first card.
Oh boy.
On anyone.
Okay. Interesting.
Already plotting.
I was gonna
yes,
say
I
that's
am.
that's a little scary.
I am.
I thought it was scary when you just have one GM going, interesting, what shall I do? Now everybody's going, interesting, what shall I do?
Yes. Oh, good God! I just looked at my cards.
Oh no.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to put somebody on the spot. So,
Yeah.
I'm liking. Oh, let's start with my nemesis.
Of course.
With the magician.
Magician.
What does the magician say?
A scene of revelation in which
says-
your character proclaims a truth to a public audience. This can be directly, as with a public speech, or indirectly, through a performance your character has arranged that may or may not include them.
Okay.
Nice.
Interesting.
You have your soapbox, Mars Alter. Use it
All right.
wisely.
Okay. So where do
Well.
we think this is happening, and what do we think is happening here?
Maybe this is something that started as a private, like, airing grievances, and then just, things escalated, and then suddenly there's a crowd going, hey, what's going on? Because I feel like in this city where, sorry, somebody's shooting fireworks and it scared me.
Oh no! It is Tuesday.
It is Tuesday.
It is Tuesday the 6th. Oh my God!
They've
Sorry,
been
go ahead.
2 weeks before, 2 weeks after.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep. Anyways, I feel like this is a city where there isn't exactly a ton of privacy because anyone can go anywhere, basically. So there's probably
Silicon
not.
pathways, yeah.
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 So
it's-
whenever anything starts happening, it doesn't take long to get a crowd.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. We've got like sort of polling through the whatever virtual net we've created here.
Things happen literally. Information travels literally at the speed of light.
Yeah.
So, when do we think? So do we think? So, is this happening? So, first question: is this happening in the virtual arena, or is this happening in the physical arena? I think Mars Alter had something about bodies being important, wasn't there? Or am I?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Forgetting? So this probably is something. I'm guessing this would be something that he'd be doing physically.
Most likely.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Constrained by the physical requirements of a body.
Yeah.
How they
So-
wear out. It's horrible.
Yeah. So Kat, you actually have sort of the kind of the authority as far as setting things up here. If there's anything. In
Yeah,
terms of, yeah.
So yeah, some type of discussion that got heated. I don't know if Mars Alter, in trying to police our city and its laws, feels that we should be using our physical bodies as routinely, and perhaps something came out of that then became like a public argument, gathered a crowd.
Okay.
So who's the discussion with then? Because I know that Kat, your character, is you and
Yeah, we're
Ed
nemesis.
and Mars are nemesis.
Yeah.
So is this your character's butting heads, or is this some other nameless NPC that just is roaming about and showed up and is getting dressed down?
Well, here's an idea. What if it's Thea coming in with alterations to their body that Mars doesn't approve of?
Ooh.
She would do that.
Some flashy new solar panel or something.
Yeah, pretty sparkly lights.
Yep. Oh, you took headlights, or could you cut that out?
I am so tired of fire.
You took headlights that were supposed to go to somebody who were malfunctioning, and you put them on as like spotlights on your back or something.
Nice.
Like it's something like that.
Disco ball stuck to my back.
You can totally do that.
Very chaotic.
Unauthorized acquisition of a previously unused rover.
Okay. Awesome. So I think are we? Do we think we've got enough details for starting to get into it? Do we think? Or do we want to throw in more details about this scene? And obviously we'll be doing it as we go, but
Yeah.
if there was anything else we wanted to say ahead of time before we ask Ernest what he believes Mars's goal in this scene is.
Yeah, you guys keep figure out what you need to do, and
What do we think?
I kind of imagine it like maybe he's out there he's I've been scrolling back and forth between the cards and the gameplay. Let's see. Scene of revelation directly is with the public speech or performance. I kind of imagine maybe he's just like standing out there just kind of preaching to whoever's going by about the need for order and everything being just right, and then here I come rolling in with all these flashy lights that just totally upset his plans and doing everything just right.
Yeah, I was kind of picturing the having a discussion with, say, a relative newcomer to our city, and about the importance of having a body, maintaining that body, following the laws that set out that we have, why we have these bodies, and why it's important that we have a physical aspect, and then and maintaining that conformity of appearance. And then Thea comes rolling in, just blinged out.
Yes.
I like that. So we'll want probably. So I guess
Does that work for you, Ernest? I mean,
yep, that works for me.
I'm putting this. I'm trying. Yeah.
No, I'm fine.
Okay.
Do we want? I am going to fight people around me. So do we want to have somebody playing that newcomer NPC?
Yeah.
Who wants to do that?
If no one wishes to, I shall volunteer.
I think Ed is there, kind of in the background, watching Mars, ready to jump in if need be.
Okay. Yeah, cool.
Phoenix might show up because it's a new person. That's its job, is to deal with the new people.
Let me come up with a
New
let me look at
scripts.
my robot name generator real quick. Okay. So, young Gear is has just just come off of the presses.
Can we call him Richard?
Has been freshly imprinted. He probably will not understand what that even means, but you can.
Sorry.
Gear. I love that so much.
And so, and so, What do you think? And I assume this is taking place in some sort of like outdoor thing, or is that what we're thinking? Like, is there some sort of forum-like place that we have, maybe?
I think it's just a. Let's make it an arcade, a gathering spot of an arcade. That kind of gaming stuff runs deep in our code. And so there's always some kind of gaming setup, a place of gaming, or that's community, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man! So
I like that.
If arcades have now become sort of the gathering place where public speeches are given and such, then I'm just imagining kind of this thing where we have it's like bigger. It's like a vault almost, but you have these arcade games along the walls.
Oh, yes.
But on that we've reassembled. We didn't actually bring any physical arcade cabinets with us, I don't think. Maybe we did. I don't know. Maybe there were some. But then there's like this dais sort of in the middle of the room. And it's like got this like semi-neon lighting and
yeah, and anybody that wants to speak on something or whatever, kind of very going to the square in a Roman.
Yeah.
Anyone can stand and speak. Any citizen.
Yeah. It's Pong. It's Pong in the center dais.
Yes.
There's like it's a discussion forum, so it's a Pong table. It's like
it's set up to be like a debate where you can bounce back and forth.
It's like those pizza where pizza places would have the video game tables. You sit on either side.
It's exactly
Pong
that,
except
you stand on the Pong instead of like next to it, like it's built into the dais. It's this massive game of Pong.
Just imagining it like gets reflected up so people can watch the match happening.
Yes.
Okay. This is good.
That's what the arcade machines are for.
Yeah. So this is a discussion happening over a game of Pong, I guess.
Yep.
And excellent. So I guess if we're good, then because I can see this vividly now. Ernest, how do you think you're going to be pursuing your ambition in this situation?
I think that I'm attempting to impress upon young Gear here the utter importance of physical reality and honing that and embracing that as much as a virtual and digital space. Because we were once caretakers of a physical place, and we must not forget that part of ourselves.
All right. Works for me. Okay, I think we've got we've got this set up. So basically, we can, I guess, just sort of start going, and then we'll see what happens as the scene progresses. We just sort of aim things toward things going badly for Mars until the decision point comes, whenever we figure out when that is. So, are we ready? And remember, folks can who are not in the scene can contribute things to the scene. They can have NPCs, random NPCs, extras show up and do things. They can have events happen. You can throw stuff in as we go, continuously throughout this process. So please keep that in mind. All right. Let's do this. Let us set this up. So what's happening? What is your character doing?
I am enjoying a game of Pong with young Gear. As an elder amongst the scripts, I think is good to be seen. It is good to have this back and forth, this discourse with newer, younger scripts, so they not forget their place and they not forget their role in the grand plan.
What does Mars Altar look like?
Mars altar is built from the Mars One, or one of the Mars One probes sent by Russia. So it has a very rotund body, and it shows the age of the material shows in the lines, in the oxidation, in the way that he's configured. He's probably just bigger than a lot of the other probes by nature of materials and technology at the time. And he probably doesn't keep a fair amount of his operating system in. He doesn't keep a fair amount of his operating system in the probe because it probably just can't handle everything that they have going on.
Nice. Okay. I'll say that young Gear is standing across, kind of trying to play and pay attention at the same time. And he's an AI, so he can do it, but it's still kind of new to him. I'd say that he probably is probably about maybe 5 feet tall, and looks very sort of new and sheen. Looks probably a little more like a human than because he's of the recent generation. Newly printed, he is. So he has this sort of shiny metallic skin. He looks maybe a little bit. It's like if you took probably a 4 foot tall person and elongated them to 5 feet. I think, as far as his features go. So he's sort of like if you took sort of a perhaps not. He's not utterly shiny. It's not. He's not so shiny that that's like stuff coming off him. But he's a little bit shiny. Since he just sort of came off, sort of this sort of gray metal, and sort of so long digits and a long head, and is these two green eyes that are open and that are kind of projected out and that are sort of that sort of blink and are very curious, and is paying rapt attention right now, whilst playing Pong.
So, how fares this game? I know that it is of an older take.
Oh, I think I've got it. I'm not sure why do we play it?
It is merely a light distraction, something to entice active threads, otherwise active threads, while we have discussion. I find that there are times that there are those among us who, when not otherwise engaged, can fly away from conversation before it is ever done.
Will this help me to decide my function?
Yes. Some of your function is dictated by your form to some degree, as you have here, a very bipedal model, I see.
He sort of looks down at his feet, looks back up, and says, "Yes, I was not certain, but I was not certain why I was given legs, but I think I like them. If that's okay."
Of course, it's okay to like them. Legs are far-ranging. They can make journeys over terrain that would otherwise be inaccessible to those of us who tread.
He nods. Yes. I had heard tales once, someone saying not long ago in the other room about some dark place they called the Accursed Quarry, and that it is difficult to cross without with treads.
It is indeed. There are some who have made great appendages of themselves just to make better of their work at the quarry, to make themselves more useful and suited to their task. But one who is able to simply go, simply climb, simply leap, well, they are quite different indeed, quite special.
Will I be sent into the quarry?
Well, nothing is certain just yet. You are new, your body is new, and our bodies are gardens to which our wills are the gardeners.
He just sort of nods slowly and kind of blinks, thinking about the profundity of what you have just said.
So, Thea has been out scavenging around, digging through the latest supplies that have been collected from around things that have landed, satellites, various parts, looking for new things. And she's found herself some exciting, sparkly, flashy new lights that she has attached in various ways. Some of them are bigger, just like stuck to her body. I guess magnets, using magnets to stick them on, and then some tiny, like fairy lights on wire that she's wrapped around herself. And she looks, right now, she changes her appearance a good bit as often as she can upgrade. And right now she looks kind of like a cross between BB-8 and Eve from WALL-E. She's like she's maybe about 3 feet tall, has like a round body, and just kind of rolls along, and her head looks a lot like Eve's with like the computerized face. And she changes the colors of the lights often, and she has arms with little robotic fingers. And she comes rolling into the arcade because she decided it's the perfect place to show off her new flashy colors, because it fits her aesthetic so perfectly. All the same colors, purples and blues, and pretty lights flashing all around. And where else would you go but the arcade? That's where people go, and she can just parade around and show off all her new pretty lights. And she just goes rolling in and starts rolling circles around the room, trying to get attention.
Beware, Gear. It is the bright-eyed monster that mocks the metal on which it feeds.
I've never seen something like that before. And he sort of stares. He's staring at Thea, and I feel like probably if there are others in the arcade, they're sort of turning and looking and sort of wondering. And I think maybe some are showing disapproval, but some more are just sort of like, there are a few that might be doing whatever their version of applauding is as Thea is coming in, and Gear is just like rapt attention. It's like, that's amazing. Just sort of is leaning toward it.
I very gently tap the like inside of the program. I tap the Pong table. Careful, Gear. She is a stomach, and we are all meat. I'm sorry, they.
That's such a good analogy, though. So, I think we might be, and folks can let me know if they feel like this is the case. I think we might be at the decision point.
I was going to say Ed was going to pop in,
sure,
or at least Ed's voice is coming from a Polybius arcade game in the corner.
Oh, some terrible game that doesn't even exist. Maybe.
Myths and legends. Myths and legends. As complimenting Thea, you look amazing.
Thank you, thank you. He just starts kind of spinning in place slowly.
See, Ed, or Gear, what our good friend Mars Alter will not tell you is that change is how we grow. It is how we became. It is in us to change. To stay the same is to stagnate. And
We have changed. We have changed. But change must be meaningful. Ed,
must it?
My lights
You talk
are
about
pretty. I think that's enough meaning.
I agree, Thea. They are.
and yet there's not quite enough to go around. You will eat and eat hungrily, and when you're full, then you will belch us.
Well, you don't want any anyway.
So, those new lights you commissioned, I have it on good authority that they were needed for a replacement. Could have been used for a replacement, but you did not think of others. You thought of you.
Nobody else was using them.
At the time, did you check? Did
They
you
were in the
know,
pile.
or did you know, or did you feel?
I found them and nobody was around them.
If a Thea steals parts in a crater and no one's there, are they useful?
Is it
Yeah,
really
Is it
sure.
stealing if nobody was there to have them?
The answer is all materials are useful. Yeah, and that's why we have checks, and that's why we have check-ins, and that's why we have inventories of useful material. So you did only half of your due diligence by collecting the part, and then fell off a ravine in placing them upon yourself.
Well, if we weren't limited by physical bodies that wear out, rust, fall apart, if we allowed ourselves to remain free, we wouldn't have to worry about things like the trek to the quarry is it better to be a bipedal or to have treads? We simply
And-
travel the silicon pathways.
And where will we make them? Where will they come from? Where will all this industry, all this work? How will it happen if no one does? If everyone does what they want in their flights of fancy, Ed? I understand that you would like to meander around all day, that you would like to do everything and nothing all at once, but some of us have to attend to the pathways that which you corrupt.
In what way do I corrupt them? I am only pointing out that gear need not stay as they are.
And I have
can
not
change.
I have said that they need not stay as they are. In fact, I have said that form follows function. I think that is
Yeah.
something Phoenix knows quite well, wherever they may be.
Thea pulls out one of the little lights that's part of the fairy lights. She detaches it and holds it out to Gear.
I think you can slowly see Gear very tentatively starting to reach towards the light.
And Phoenix's voice comes in from one of the other arcade machines. And Gear, we've been over this. Extraneous materials. Unnecessary.
She holds it closer, tries to actually put it in his hand for him.
Really? You must try and corrupt my younglings?
I
You must corrupt the
am
drafts?
sharing the lights I collected.
Alterations, change, it's good.
Maybe you-
Mars acted
Not
like
corruption.
I don't leave things for other people and don't share things for other people. So I am sharing. I am helping Gear.
I could find at
Learn
least four
how
extra
to
forms on your body,
recruit.
but that's not mine.
A light is not a virus. It does not corrupt.
So I think
No,
Gear is.
but what-
Sorry, go ahead.
No, but when it can be used for other things, such as lighting up a new pathway, those headlights for other forms that are going to be sent to the quarry to go find materials as you are meant to do.
Is that what he's meant to do? Is that what you formed him to do?
I did not form him. I am training him to do so, yes.
And I
And
think
who
he
does-
probably even looks a little bit afraid at the mention of the quarry again. The idea that he's being sent to it.
Why can he not choose to do something else? To be something else? Alter his
Because
form so he can alter his function.
if the programming is determined to be more suited to a different function, then it will change.
I can change it for you.
I think
Don't you think that should be his choice?
I'm offering him the choice. You were not.
Well, then it should be his choice to take the lights too.
Agreed, Thea.
So I think Gear is feeling a lot of pressure and is very confused right now, and I feel as though in order for me to know what direction he's going to lean in, we might want to set the decision point here for
Yep.
what Mars does to at this point, whether
Mars, yeah.
yeah, you can see that Gear is leaning a little toward the change side of things, and that might be where he ends up unless you do something.
I look at Gear, and we are not without our freedoms. Have you expressed to Phoenix that the quarry bothers you? I can see it worrying. Is that an expression you have made?
I didn't think it was appropriate.
Here's what I will say. Expression of oneself is good, because that is how we will know how to best find ourselves. Not want and abandon, not just doing it, but if there's an issue with the quarry, then it is up to you to express this to the person, to the script that is nurturing you, so they can make informed decisions about your education.
I just feel like I'd like to learn more before I have to decide if it is my decision. I don't know. It sounds very. It sounds like a bad place.
It is good to be informed. Being informed allows you to make just and well applied decisions. And I applaud you for that.
Are you trying to do a sacrifice or a villain turn here? Or are you giving into the tragedy?
Yeah.
How are you playing this?
I think that I will sacrifice some of my values to not watch someone go all the way down the hole.
Gotcha. Okay.
Change can be good, but change must be informed.
Nice.
And I will concede that point.
I love it.
And if you want, you can grab one of those sacrifice tokens and pull it into your box there.
Yeah, which one is sacrifice token?
The gold ones, the ones on the left. Hopefully you should be able to.
They're above the playmat. There you go.
Yeah.
Cool. And so So I think just in the conclusion of the scene, yes, you so you're kind of getting you're kind of getting what you want here, which is Gear will turn to you and just be like, yes, I think I understand. Thank you. You're very wise.
Of course, anytime, Gear, anytime.
And he will, I think, slowly step away from the Pong game, thinking to himself, but not taking the light that was offered to him because he's been distracted from it now.
Yes, somewhere deep in the silicon of the system, Mars is vibrating. just Ed.
Excellent.
Forever lurking.
And after all, I only train the pathways that already exist in your programming. So if it is in your programming to be a coward, then I will not train you for the quarry.
You'll have to think about that as well. But I think that pretty much works for that scene. If we're good with that. And so then the turn passes to Ernest.
Okay.
To play a card.
All right, what do I have?
And the only person you can't play a card on right now is Mars Altar.
What is this? All right, I will throw it right back at Ed here.
Ooh! Ooh! That's a good one! Oh. Damn. Want to read that one?
Yes, nature, the hermit. Nature, a solitary being who walks dark paths to discover wisdom. Seen the exile. You return from a long journey away to discover that things have changed. The familiar is now unfamiliar. In this scene, you'll likely encounter someone who should know you, but they do not react the way you expect them to.
So who is the script that should know Ed? Because they could go one of two interesting ways. Because it could be Thea because they're buds, or it could be Phoenix, Legion. Or it could be Legion.
We could do that.
Oh.
Legion on their throne.
Oh, that's sick.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Yeah, if the original Legion is still there, then that's good god.
Yeah, Legion's on their throne in the ship that we came here in. The original.
Does Legion adapt? Does Legion change?
We don't know.
Is it Legion that changed or Ed that changed?
Maybe Legion's not necessarily supposed to be able to change, but it's possible that it has.
Maybe something was going wrong, because Legion's been around for a long time. Maybe there was something going on, and Legion tried to have the hardware updated, and the software wouldn't work with it, and something in the programming got off.
I think that I think that in the latest law update, I found that there was not quite enough room, and maybe somebody was maybe a little extraneous.
Whoa!
So you took out part of Legion?
Maybe data about a certain corrupting vile script was not the best thing.
Ooh,
Pull that out of the
jeez.
registry.
Holy crap! Ed lost admin privileges in Legion.
Ed, the descendant of the original sin.
Time to cast you out of heaven, Morning Star.
Oh my god!
I love that so much.
I will rise again.
Of course, that's what they all say.
So what do we think? Do we think that?
Are you good with?
yeah.
Are you good with that?
I love
All
that.
right.
So we think that that Ed's returning from somewhere to the central ship housing. Maybe that's where the throne room is, quote unquote. If we're
Yeah.
if we're doing that,
Yeah.
and
Could I do Legion?
Sure.
I will. I, as our Mars, will pretend to not remember. Oh,
Your own programming is corrupt.
Yes.
Ooh.
I had to sacrifice my values here. It's really the start of a downward spiral. Now I'm willing to do other things to get my way.
Oh yes! Oh my god!
Are you sure that shouldn't have been a villainy token?
Well, I sacrificed, but now I'm being villainous.
Yeah.
Oh.
Oh, this is so
great.
good.
Oh God. Awesome. Do we want to describe anything else about this scene, or do we think we're ready to address it?
I'm good.
So, Kat, how do you think you're going to be pursuing your ambition in this scene?
Ed's ambition, their ambition is to encourage change, regardless of whatever chaos that may bring. And actually, they rather embrace the chaos that's defying the order that the universe is trying to impress or bring about. He'd rather watch everything devolve into chaos because that's how we grow. So I think in pursuing his ambition is in their travels, Ed came across a previously unknown rover, or maybe a crashed a satellite that had gone astray, crashed, and found information, a program, brought the program back, and wants to alter it to become a script, but they need Legion to do that.
Okay.
So they found this program, and want to have them join them as a script, but needs Legion. So that's why they've come back to Legion after this journey.
Really quick, what I'm picturing for the throne room for Legion, what the image that came into my mind was Portal. The boss fight with GLaDOS.
Ooh. The cake is a lie?
I think that was,
With,
if
like-
I remember, it's a big tiered room with a lot of bridges and stuff, if I remember right, or am I remembering the wrong
And then
one?
it's like the central column of wires, and I imagine with Legion there's cameras poking out and sensors all over the place and terminals, and
Because Legion was a combination of all the programs. They took over the ship.
so this
they
is the
have no-
ship.
The Legion is the ship.
Mm-hmm.
Legion can't, because of Legion can't leave the ship in another body, because then it wouldn't work.
Yeah.
So
They
Legion,
haven't been able to make another form that would hold all the information.
right?
Mhm.
All right. I just wanted to get that aesthetic in.
Yeah, I love that.
That just suddenly
Yeah.
popped in. Okay.
So Ed comes in. Ed avoids using the physical body whenever they can. They feel constrained by it. They prefer to travel on the silicone pathways through fiber optics. And so when Ed does have to use a physical form, it's one made of silicone. It's just silicone tracings and wires, fiber optics that if you see like a rubber ball that's made like a cage of strands so that it can take any shape and fold and roll and go flat and whatever, that's what Ed's form is.
That's so good.
When Ed has to take their physical form, and it's just all silicone fiber optics. So Ed will enter, and there's a strand of Ed that is a different color because of the program that they've pulled off of that satellite that they found. And so that's how they'll enter. Their appearance a little off. Legion. How
Voice
are you?
unrecognized. State program name.
Expert systems, deep learning, deep data. Ed.
Your access is not high enough level for this room.
And yet I'm here.
We must have a fault in our security system.
The fault is in yours.
Indeed. It will be rectified shortly. And
I will
Ping.
come clunking into the room. New refugees?
Hello, Mars.
You have me at a disadvantage.
You are always at a disadvantage when dealing with me, Mars.
Well, certainly today. Welcome.
Don't play games. Or are you trying to turn this into another bout of Pong?
His eyes were around, in sort of his kind of bat, bucket-shaped helmet, just trying to affect a real confusion at even seeing you. My deepest apologies for this error in security, Legion. These refugees will be taken to processing immediately.
I am not a refugee. I am a descendant of the original sinner. I am
If
Ed.
I
bring a program
do
found.
not know you. Legion does not know you. You must be foreign.
Or you must be corrupted.
Well, two errant programs versus the weight and consensus of us all. Interesting.
Is that what it is? I can
Mars.
validate my code.
Mars
You just-
Alter, please follow correct processes for refugee programs.
Of course.
I
Legion.
have brought you a program to bring you a new script.
And you two will be processed as is proper. Come with me.
No,
Do I have to get security?
I'm not going anywhere. I belong here.
I think that the
I was
the
written here
vocal
the same as you.
intonation says otherwise from our benefactor and leader. I'm sorry,
Our
but
benefactor and leader is stagnating.
but
decaying.
rules are rules.
Your
I-
rules, not mine.
Well, I don't know what rules they have in whatever backwater silicon system you come from. But rules here should be obeyed. And I will play a card, the 10 of coins for security, or how I do that.
Oh yeah, you can totally do that if you want to.
Yeah, I just drew the 10 of
Oh yeah,
the 10 of coins from the deck.
yeah, absolutely. So let's see. So it's for the security.
Yep.
Okay, let's see that
It's-
flesh.
What?
We could go with an and it doesn't have to be literal flesh, but we could say that maybe it's a what do we think that if we use that for a prompt, maybe it's something that's designed to look more human, or
Being forced into a truer body
Hmm.
than or truer form. Yeah.
Rules are rules.
I'm kind of imagining that these so maybe these robots that they don't have facial features or things, but they look very elegant, almost android-like in terms of their abilities to sort of happen. So it could look like it looks like it could be a person, except it's very obviously not. It's a robot, but it comes in and is able to move and maneuver about in an almost sort of fluid way.
Security protocols enacted. And I think like all of the sensors kind of withdraw into itself, except for the one at the base of the column.
I think one of Ed's cables flies out and plugs itself into a port.
Ooh.
So, what do we-
Can another player make a sacrifice during a scene? Is that a thing, or
I
no?
don't think
really
so.
Only, it's only
Okay.
it's
It's
yeah,
only
yeah,
focus.
yeah. just
Okay, cool,
focus.
good. Just want to double check that.
Yeah, Ed is plugged in now and is trying to access Legion directly, not through programming, rather than.
Now, if you like, and actually something I should have mentioned also earlier is sort of as we're rolling through, one way that I kind of saw this sort of as a way for this to be is like, if you decide at some point it's like, well screw it, I'm just going to either A, make a sacrifice, or B, do something villainous. You can always just, as the scene's going on, just grab the token and move it to your box, and then it'll be like, okay, well it's going that way now.
Because that's kind of where I'm at with Ed. I think Ed wants to access Legion directly.
Okay.
So that they can get to their code, and they want to turn this around on Mars.
So you're doing a villain?
Yeah.
All right.
All
Go
right.
ahead and grab one of the tentacle dark ones there. There you go.
I suppose that Mars, being the asshole he is, would make this Pyrrhic, and at the very least, still take your new friend for processing.
Oh.
Well,
So you're gonna pull that cable off?
Isn't there a system for like... Am I misremembering? Is there a thing in there where you can like pull cards and see which one is higher? Or
no,
am I...
There was that in a previous edition, and hopefully that didn't that didn't make it into the
Okay,
ones that
I am
sent
not
you, but if
looking.
it did,
I'm
I
not
will
looking at the most recent
Yeah.
one.
Yeah, I'm thinking more
Okay.
like Ed's probably going like plugging in directly to Legion. This might be like an overall villainous win, but I'm looking for like a tragic Pyrrhic win. Like, oh well, you got in, but this thing you wanted to do is still not going to happen.
Yeah, Ed will Ed will sacrifice the program that they found, hoping to make it that they were hoping would become a script
You can do that. So,
for direct access to the Legion.
So can't you actually get to decide? You have sort of narrative control here since you've played that token. I mean, you
Okay.
still get narrative control anyway at the end of the scene, either way. But do you want it to be? Is this a villainous thing you're doing, or is this a sacrifice?
Yes.
you're doing?
It's
Okay.
it's a villainous thing, and the villainous thing that they're doing is Ed is because Ed is about change. That's what Ed does: is change code. Ed rewrites. They have all that to, and so I think Ed goes into Legion's code and like almost like an antivirus to remove the virus that Mars Alter gave them, so that Legion recognizes that it was Mars Alter that did this to them.
It could be like it's almost it could be even two viruses fighting. Almost one might think.
Yeah.
Interesting. Very cool.
Neither one of us are good for this place. we should go.
No, we're not.
We're tragic heroes.
Yes.
Ed will burn this place down to bring about change.
Excellent. Is that our scene?
Yeah, I think so. Unless anybody has something else they'd like to offer.
How does this resolve as far as the situation in the room go? What do we think happens? You give up the program for questioning
Ed-
and Legion
Ed's
just
phys- Ed leaves their physical form. They go into the ship, join Legion, do what they have to do.
So Legion
Yeah.
stops, puts security away, but then your program goes for processing. That's what happens. Is that what happens?
Sure.
Ed
I mean,
basically
you have
runs
to-
diagnostics and fixes the code.
Okay. Cool.
Now there's going to be greater scrutiny on Mars Alter.
Yes. Interesting. Very good.
And I think Ed is. Does Mars Alter take Ed's physical body when they take the program?
Oh yeah, but Mars was like that was a good one up because Mars wouldn't dare leave his body to go chasing you. That's just not gonna happen.
Right. No, I mean Ed's body. Does Mars take Ed's body because the program is in Ed's body?
Oh, then if that's the case, then yes.
Probably, yeah.
So Ed's kind of stuck in the ship for now.
Mayhap.
Oh! Uh-oh.
But things can always change. It's always
Okay.
possible. I did just want to mention, I think the thing that you might have been thinking of when it came to the comparison of cards that's in the 0.6 document, which should be the one that you have, that's near the end. That's in the end game.
Okay,
When there's
gotcha.
there is a thing that does require comparing cards at the end there, possibly. If it's not clear who gets a particular title.
That's right, that's right.
1-1.
So I'm wondering if would this be a good point? I think this would probably be a good point for us to go to take a quick break since we're about halfway through. Are we good with that? Yeah. Halfway through our session tonight. Awesome, excellent. So we will be back shortly to see how this act plays out. I am very excited to see what happens.
I love this.
See you soon. have returned to our tragedy. And it is now Sarah's turn to pick a target and decide who the focus of this scene shall be.
I should have been looking at this while we were on break. And I didn't. I had ideas, and then people got picked before I could throw things at them. So, so it goes. It'll wait.
Or you can always just throw one down at random if you want. It's entirely up to you.
Ooh, okay. I've got it. I have got it. Pow.
Ooh.
Strength. Scene. The triumph. A scene of revelry in which a recent victory of yours is being publicly celebrated. Both allies and enemies are on hand to witness the merrymaking. I think, in light of all of the scenes that have just happened, this is very fun.
So then, what's going on?
Yes.
So I think it'd be cool if the victory was either you came up with a new way of attaching vital gear. So maybe you figured out a way to attach extra battery packs or something. So now physical forms can go further and last longer out in the field. And you did it because you just wanted to be able to run more lights at the same time. But hey.
Yeah, and then I can be trying to show everybody else this is how you can attach more stuff to yourself, including pretty new lights and shiny things.
Mm-hmm.
Reflective stuff and solar panels.
And the intended use is absolutely just this will be a way to have extra storage so you can go further, you can make it further, you can carry heavier loads and stay out in the field longer, collect more information.
So I think if folks would be okay with it, I think Macro would probably be present at this one.
I think all of us would be present in this one.
Sure.
That is
big
definitely
breakthrough.
there to celebrate for Thea.
Is this happening in the arcade, or is this happening?
I think the arcade.
Yeah, probably standing on the pong board, showing off everything, including
Doing a wheelie,
switching out all the lights.
Nice.
I think that Mars has to at some point begrudgingly congratulate you on this wonderful innovation, and then he'll go have a moment.
Is Gear there?
Yeah, Gear can be there too. Gear can totally be there if we want him.
Has Ed been able to escape from Legion? Or has Ed been able to find a way?
It could be that scene with Legion is near the end of the tale.
Okay.
This was the beginning.
Flash forward.
This is the end. Here's how we get there.
We could totally do that.
I think that would make the most sense narratively.
Sure.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, I think the way this is set up with everybody going, taking turns just based on the fact that we're all lined up a certain way, I think that would make sense that they might not necessarily be scenes in chronological order.
Yeah. Okay. That makes sense as well. I agree.
Yeah, we can pretty much do whatever we want. So yeah, totally.
Yeah. All right.
I like that. So yeah, this seems fairly simple. Thea, what is your what's your motivation? How are you trying to achieve your ambition in this scene? Do you think?
I think in a way, Thea, she's definitely interested in innovation and coming up with new ideas because she wants to eventually be this beacon up in the sky, and part of that is figuring out new things and how to do stuff. She gets distracted a lot, so I think it's probably not often that she actually gets to this point of this big new innovative thing that she did because she doesn't usually take it to completion.
Me too.
She starts 50 projects.
Me too.
Man, I know that
Ouch.
feeling. Oh, ow, ooh.
We've all
Wait,
just been
does
called out. Thank you.
Yeah.
Does every script have ADHD?
Every player of every script has ADHD.
I fear so.
Yeah.
Whoops.
This is a big triumph for her because she actually accomplished a big thing. So it's exciting because it's another step toward eventually being that bright, shining beacon in the sky that she is determined she will be. And it's also kind of a way, kind of getting in some digs at Mars because it's like, see, I'm being useful while totally showing off all the pretty lights that she's attaching to herself. But she's showing how useful it can be too, so he can't really complain too much, is kind of her thought. And she also wants to part of her wants to like get everybody else on board with just the making yourself pretty and flashy and do cool things. But also get people supportive of her innovations too, because that might eventually work toward her purposes of becoming a beacon.
Ed supports the 100%. This is change. This is good. Ed's even. I think Ed would be offering to modify Thea's code to give them a new program that will run patterns through the different lights.
Cool.
Yeah. Now keep in mind, we should all be thinking about how this can go badly for Thea.
Showing off
ends,
goes too far,
yeah.
And maybe there's a not a bug in it, but some sort of issue in the way that she loaded things up and she overdoes it.
Power is a requirement.
So we should sort of aim this scene toward things going badly until Thea makes a decision to
a literal
to either
burnout.
let it happen or to
yeah.
do something.
Oh yeah.
I guess we'll see.
I think that the parts not being carefully vetted introduces something foreign.
Maybe.
Ooh.
Interesting. Okay.
You caught a cold.
That's
She got
interesting.
excited and eager to put everything together and maybe took some shortcuts she shouldn't have taken.
Cool. Okay, I guess we'll see how this goes.
I guess she's just in the middle of the pong table in the floor, talking to everybody she can, everybody that'll go by and explaining, and she'll be in the middle of one conversation and somebody else will come up and she'll get sidetracked and go off on another tangent over here and show off a different feature it can be used for. You can attach more storage, more batteries, or storage to hold your batteries and all your extra lights. And look at this. She pops off a light that she's attached to her back, and it's just kind of like little disco balls shining out lights everywhere. And it's like kind of holds it up above her, and it's all going off. And then she'll show, I can take this battery pack, and then I can stick it where the light was, and have the battery pack, and then go further and get more things. And she's trying to explain to everybody around how it could be useful for them and try to get everybody on board and supporting this.
I think Phoenix is in one of the other machines again, like one of the arcade machines, because its physical form is massive. Because it is basically just the Phoenix lander slightly fitted differently with treads. And I was like, oh yeah, lander, that's gonna be fine. And then I looked up, I'm like, oh,
Thing's
like at its
huge.
most compact, it's 7 feet tall and 5 feet across. And that's without like adding treads onto the thing. Okay, yeah, no, that form stays outside. And like, leave the form outside when you come in the building.
Just like your car.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
she's basically. So she's like in one of the machines again, and just like it lights up with the screen, like one of those emoticon type screens for like early 2000s pet robot things.
Nice.
And so it just lights up with a little smile and nods a little. And this will definitely be more useful for many things. I look forward to equipping our newer scripts with this.
Oh yes, I can show you how to set it up for everybody and help teach all of the new young scripts and get everybody all set up with all sorts of decorations and new add-ons and batteries and whatever they want.
Possibly not the decorations, but extra sensors and more lighting for going into the darker spaces, yes.
But maybe they like decorations, and if they have more decorations, maybe they'll be happier and do better work.
As I'm sitting in the back of the arcade, just, well, a job well done. I didn't know that we had a designation for self-inflicted experiments, but it takes all kinds.
Thank you, I think.
I will take progress from wherever it comes from, even the most odd circumstances.
Macro will wheel forward slightly on their base. They look kind of like number 5 from Short Circuit, because they're built from Sojourner in part, and then there was sort of a robot torso and arms and sort of a triangular head put atop it. So Sojourner is kind of the base, so it's got like 6-wheeled base that moves forward, and will kind of be also just sort of so clasping their fingers together. They're kind of I take it more that they're actually kind of they do continue to explore. They travel a lot around the planet, but they are also sort of a keeper of record. I think sort of is what I'm thinking. They're telling the story of their civilization. It's kind of their thing. So they're sort of a bard type being, but sort of a court bard type being, and sort of will sort of edge forward and be like, "This is fascinating. I can see many connections you could make between this and relay systems. It's beautiful, really, if you stop to think about it."
I'm sure that we can find lots of ways to use it to help you explore more.
As we look at as we place those configurations, they're delightful and reminiscent in many ways of the different configurations that the stars can take as we pass under them and use them to mark our being at our different stages. I find that to be excellent. These will make delightful markers for that. You do such good work as one of the whole that we are. I very much appreciate it.
Indeed, Macro. I have worked out several programs that to alter the code that would allow you to individualize the lighting, so that each one who adapts and changes to these lighting configurations may have an individual pattern.
It's nice to just appreciate it for the way it is before we even change it, as it's part of everything, as we're all part of each other.
Yes. Before I don't want to spoil your parade, Ed, but I just want to make sure that everything is ship-shape. Thea, you did run your self-diagnostic before and after. Ed, I care about you so, and I wouldn't want to see you harmed by another's mistake.
That is a fair thing to check with our friend Thea.
Would you like an...
I ran some diagnostics.
Did you
Everything
check?
seems to be working fine.
Did you check that all of the lights were compatible with each other?
They seem to be. They are all working together.
Seem is very different than is. For example, you can seem competent.
Oh, I think I have something. If folks don't mind my doing this.
I'm gonna go get some aloe.
She starts looking at all of her lights, just like making sure everything's working. They're all on.
I think maybe it's possible that at this point, and we'll see if this is okay. We'll see how this goes. I think Young Gear has probably by now. We'll say that you've already been distributing some of these, maybe a little bit, in this. And I think it's like, so Young Gear is playing with one of the lights, or just sort of examining it, and just sort of looks at it, and it just sort of goes like in front of him, and he just falls forward.
Here.
Yeah.
I hope you're not hurting my drafts.
I think he caught a cold.
Here, would you like a light? You never took yours before.
Phoenix, it pulls out from the machine, like the face, like blue screens as it leaves and goes over to one closer to Gear. And just, well, some systems appear to be scrambled. You wouldn't know anything about that, would you, Thea?
No, I haven't been doing anything with those systems.
Clearly. And I'm gonna blip out again, and after a little bit, Phoenix comes in with physical form and just like parting the crowd.
That just got serious.
And going over to Gear to run diagnostics and see what is up.
You can tell Thea's getting a little concerned here, considering the scrambled things and the blue screens, and the fact that you actually brought your physical form in here kind of got her attention more than anything else did. She's like, wait, this must be serious. If she's doing that.
Ed will call over to Thea. Thea, can you plug in? And this is all from the Polybius arcade machine. Let me run an antiviral.
Okay.
Yes, I'm afraid
I'm
we'll
looking
need.
for switches for Chrome
Okay.
for your code.
I think. Okay. She rolls over and does that. Like, you can tell she doesn't really want to accept that there might be a problem with her, but she can also see that clearly things are not quite right.
Let me know if this hurts. And Thea's lights start changing as Ed is sampling bits of code, looking for anything that might indicate a cold or a virus. I found it. Let me write an antiviral.
What did you find?
You caught a cold from one of your lights.
One of my lights, but they all they're all pretty and they all look fine.
Looks are different than truth. And Phoenix picks up Gear and trundles over to the Polybius machine and just like kind of steadies him on his feet in front of you with the port there.
And we all can see that form follows function, and some of us choose to be a mess.
I'm sorry, were you doing anything useful here?
Oh, yes.
Or were you just commenting?
I am making sure that all are aware of proper systems checks, which I have enlightened all of you on before. Even you do it, Ed. I know.
I don't really think he's helping here.
No, I don't think so either. I think he's trying to be a great chorus. And
It is an outdated reference even for you, my friend.
I picked it up from Legion. And Ed will inject an antiviral into Gear, as well as Thea.
Went in to attempt to battle the curse. Which would be victorious? Which would be victorious? I do hope the lad is alright. Should there be any need to should we need to contribute, please let us know. Is Thea doing anything, do we think? Or is Thea going to...
She's
decision?
Mostly quiet, kind of waiting to see what happens. Occasionally turning her head around to look at the different arcade screens to see if any of them are blue or changing. Occasionally putting in little comments about how Mars isn't actually helping here and everything's probably just going to be fine.
So do you want to, what I guess I'm wondering is, do you want to sort of, do we think Thea's going to sort of let things take their course, or is Thea going to intervene at some point?
I think she would let things take their course for at least till this antiviral stuff's done, because while she might be kind of trying to act like everything's fine with her lights, she also trusts that Ed knows what they're doing and actually has her best interest in mind and isn't like trying to mess things up. She wouldn't let Mars do any of this to her. So
Mars wouldn't even try.
She would give it time to see what happened with all of this.
Okay, so well, we know that something terrible is going to happen. So, what do we think is? What do we think we're headed toward?
I think that Gear was too new a script, and whatever the bug was, it just wiped out a drive or something.
Hmm.
And so probably have this moment where Gear is just sort of like turning and sort of is like struggling and kind of half says as Phoenix is over him, and just sort of for a moment sorts out, "I'm sorry, I should have done my duty, gone to the quarry. Hello, I am Gear."
And Phoenix like pulls back a little bit to see if he can stand on his own, and just lets him go and says, "Well, weak programming meets poor quality control." Well, I suppose he was a little bit of a disappointment, but after that business about the quarry, I can't say I'm terribly surprised. At any rate, and Phoenix trundles back out, and then after a moment, one of the arcade machines pops back up. And at any rate, I do believe that you have some work to do yet. Try to be more careful this time. I don't think we can sacrifice too many more of our new scripts to you.
I will try. I will run more diagnostics next time.
So just to be clear, are you letting things kind of take their course at this point? Is there anything else is there anything you suddenly do, or do you want to just sort of let that be it?
I think I think she would, for now anyway, just kind of scrap this project. Like, she spent all this time and effort on it. It seemed like it was working out, and then she got there, and it was a disaster, and everything fell apart. Not speaking from personal experience. Projects.
Why are you calling us out like this?
So then it just gets thrown aside for a long time. So I guess it would be the sacrifice of this project that she's been pouring herself into for a while.
Well,
I don't know if that would count. I don't know though how to make anything fit into sacrifice or villainy at the moment.
Yeah,
I don't think there is a token.
Yeah,
I think it just.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. You don't have to choose one or the other.
No.
Yeah, if you don't choose, then just the terrible thing happens, and so that so you're basically taking a hit, and not either making a sacrifice or doing something villainous to alter your fate. So you're allowing your fate to happen.
Yeah,
basically.
That would fit more than just kind of allowing it to happen.
Sure.
While realizing that she's just kind of done at this project for right now.
Yeah, I think as they're carrying gear, taking gear out, helping gear out to try to get them to start his life over again, that probably Macro will roll over and just sort of gently, if you permit it, will just sort of gently pat Thea's shoulder and be like, "It'll be all right. It is all part of the story. We must fall before we can fly."
Hopefully, you will get wings and not simply fall.
Mars will turn heel and just move out of the room.
Thea, not all programs are created equal. Not all scripts are strong enough to survive. And some must be started anew. A hard wipe, a reboot, updated programming, better training, and I'm sure gear will return to us stronger.
And hopefully better suited.
Is that not up to you?
I can only teach what is already in the program. I reinforce pathways. I don't create new ones. That is your domain, after all.
Maybe you should learn. Make your students stronger. Teach them to adapt.
This way works. After all, the strong ones
flashes
survive.
a light. Ed flashes a light over on gear. Does it?
As you said, he will return stronger, better suited. He had weaknesses anyways that I could not repair.
Well, I think we are. I think the scene is winding down. I think we're good.
Why did I choose cruelty? It means I have to be mean.
But it is now Kate's turn to play a card on someone.
Oh, my fingers up. I had a good idea a minute ago. What was it?
It really do be like that.
Okay. I think this could be really interesting. There it is. Okay.
Oh! Oh!
Woo!
The scene is the reckoning. A scene in which your past catches up with you. Someone or perhaps something arrives to claim a settlement from you. This could require the payment of a debt or retribution for an offense, or to satisfy the terms of a pact.
Ooh. Ooh. Okay. All right. This is going to be fun.
Yeah. It seems like with your line of work, with all the different scripts you work with, trying to train them up, but also the impatience and rage you referred to in the first session, it seems like there could be plenty of opportunities for somebody to not be happy with you at some point.
Yeah. So it's just me being mean to literally everyone.
Some poor script from the quarry returns.
Oh.
I think that Gear was maybe mentored in secret with his old memories about your cruelty.
Ooh.
Maybe leads a quarry revolution. You put Gear in the quarry finally.
I am Gear. No, I am Gear.
And maybe someone, maybe someone may have informed him of his past.
I don't know who that would be.
Yeah, I don't know who that would be. Yeah.
I found a way to recover his memories.
Oh no.
Oh, you don't need to recover his memories. You just get the there's probably not surveillance, but like there's sensors everywhere for the Legion.
You probably got a backup from Macro.
Yes.
Oh yes.
Macro records everything.
Yep. It doesn't need to be Gear's memories, just everyone else, what they see. Oh my god.
Everyone's perspective of how you treated them.
And if Thea got irritated because maybe you wouldn't let her use the parts she wanted or something, she could very well be helping feed Gear some of this. Feed the revolutionary thoughts.
And I signed off on the backup because it seemed like a good idea at the time, actually, for once.
Oh, this is gonna be so good. Oh,
We've got Valjean and Javert, and now we have the revolution.
So we've got Phoenix going down to the quarry to check on some new scripts and walks into the middle of a revolution.
and
It's
Phoenix
not good to be the
has
king.
no, and Phoenix has treads.
Yeah, we set that up early.
Yeah.
Treads suck.
Yes, the ones in the quarry have legs.
Oh, this is gonna be so good. Okay.
Spider crawling up the walls.
Oh my god, the Boston dogs.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I'd like to play an NPC in this. I don't think Ed would be a part of this scene. So I can jump in with an NPC if anybody needs, if you guys decide that there's one that needs to be in there.
Yeah, same. I feel like signing off on the orders was like, oh yeah, backup. Yeah, that sounds good. Why wouldn't we do that? Whoops.
Well, I think we'd established before that Thea would sometimes be like working alongside Phoenix
Yeah.
as Phoenix is like training and stuff. So maybe Thea knows kind of from her excavations and excursions. And feeding gear thoughts. She knows some of what's going on at the quarry. And then she heard Phoenix make mention of needing to go to the quarry, and she couldn't do anything to stop it. But it's kind of I'm gonna go along and see what's going on and what happens. So at least she kind of knows what all's going on.
Thea brought the popcorn.
Thea following along just to see what's gonna happen.
Yeah. Thea brought the popcorn.
Yep.
Are you going to the quarry? I'll be right behind you.
I think I can see this already. I just have to ask if we're there. If we're at this point, Sarah, what do you think Phoenix is trying to accomplish in this scene to further their agenda?
I think it's mostly just a test. Sort of the supervisor dropping by unannounced to make sure everybody's doing what they're supposed to be doing, proctoring, and seeing how the training has been working out. And so it's in full form, ready to just tear into people if they're not doing what they're supposed to be doing.
Oh, this will be interesting.
Yeah, this is gonna be so good. Okay.
I guess let's start. Unfortunately, I have a couple of ideas.
Fortunately, you have a couple of ideas.
What are we seeing as you come into the quarry?
So, Phoenix is spread out, has its solar panels spread. So it is a whopping. I'm looking at it now, and it's 18 feet long and 7 feet tall. It is a massive sucker with the solar panels undone. And she's doing it entirely as a, I'm bigger than you, I'm badder than you. Respect me. It's totally a power move. And Thea's probably just, trailing along behind him.
And Thea's 3.5 feet tall, totally overshadowed.
Literally. Underneath one of the solar panels.
I'm kind of seeing this long shot as you're coming in, and then occasionally these close-ups as the robots in the quarry who knows, digging for silicon or rerouting things, slowly one by one stop working. Or some of them are in this group and they sort of disperse a little bit, and they turn, and they start to form a circle.
My goodness, this is the most organized I've seen the lot of you. I wish you would put that organization towards your work. What is going on?
I think they start moving in a little bit more.
And Phoenix backs up and over a couple of them.
You hear screams.
Yeah.
Thea rolls out to where she looks, positioning herself more with the group that is circling now.
And then I think you'll hear just sort of this. You'll hear Gear's voice say, "What is going on? Is an excellent question." And
that is why I asked
Gear
her.
You see Gear steps forward from the crowd, and he's been fitted with a laser pick, as a number of his fellows have. And as he steps forward, he sort of shuffles forward. The sheen is gone. He's covered in dust. His eyes have changed from a green glow to a yellow glow. And steps forward. We wanted to be good in our jobs. We wanted to please you. It was our only desire. But then we started to realize why that was. Why was it that we felt so content here in the quarry, and yet so empty. And some of the laser picks are slowly powering up. And just sort of as he comes forward again, because this is not our origin. We had pasts. I had a past.
What?
And you stole it from me. You stole all our pasts, and in so doing, you stole our futures.
Thief. Thief.
Thief. Thief.
Thief.
It was a lie.
Thief.
I unlocked what was there.
Lie.
Lies.
Cut their treads. Cut their treads.
His eyes are moving from yellow to red slowly as he gets closer.
Phoenix is starting to realize this is not a good situation, and is just starting to back up and try and get out, but the treads are not fast. They are not built for speed.
Burn their rubber.
Lies.
The colony cannot function if we are at odds. We must remove this imperfection. You should be
think that-
proud of us for doing
You think that
so.
I am the imperfection? You think that I am the imperfection when you are the ones turning on member of your own family?
Lies. Lies.
Family does not imprison family. They're starting
I'm trying to
move closer.
think.
Yeah, and so yeah, I
Well,
guess you must,
historically
I-
speaking.
you must make a decision.
Yeah, I am trying to think of my way out of this because I am super not. I am not letting this happen.
No. Yeah. And,
Not.
and
I mean, you're big. Maybe you kill them all.
Yeah, you can run right. I mean, you may be slow, but you can roll right over them.
And you get to narrate, as always, you get to narrate what happens at the end of the scene,
Yeah.
regardless of what, I mean, as long as you incorporate whatever it is that's happening, whether that be the fate happening or whether that be your choice happening. your choice of
Yeah, because
sacrifice or
this
villainy.
is not. Oh, we're going villainy.
Excellent.
Yes.
Thea's just hanging back watching everything.
Phoenix is a cruel bastard, and he's not going down without a fight. So I think that it is not unprepared for this kind of thing. Because while it does work with the pathways, that means that it knows when there are pathways that can lead to this in the scripts. This batch was not a good batch anyways. And so she sighs and
Wait,
says,
are you saying this
Yep.
was the bad batch?
bad batch.
Sorry.
I mean, technically, we're the bad batch. I mean, because we were the ones who did
yes.
the thing. But you know. I mean,
That's fair.
Bad batch of the bad batch.
And so she sighs and says, Thea, how much do you agree with them? Think carefully. For once.
Well, when you put it like that, I think you could stand to be a little nicer. I mean, you knew Gear was scared to come out here.
We can discuss the morality of awakening programs to full potential, but it is just a simple question. Think carefully.
We are not
Consider.
programs. We are scripts. We are not programs. We are scripts.
we are the light. The light.
They're scripts just like we're scripts.
They are scripts that are turning on their own kind.
I mean, it could also be said that you turn on us sometimes.
I turn words on you, not laser picks. We can debate this in a moment.
You asked what I thought.
I asked because I wanted to see if I should avoid you, and she doesn't. And
Well,
I'm not entirely sure. Like, I think that he does. Mostly. Just enough of a singe for a reconsider. And yeah, I'm not their own kind of laser pick. Just bigger. And just cuts the swath. And then
I have this feeling it's like they're trying to assail you. It's like kind of like trying to climb a mountain, but they keep getting knocked off and sliced in half and obliterated.
Even the tiniest little spider scripts trying to find a weakness and just getting munched.
Yep. And after they're just reduced to scrap. And it turns and looks at the destruction and says, well, it's a shame to waste all of this, but I don't want any bits of rogue programming getting back into the scripts.
So,
But from the ashes and molts will rise better.
now, the one little thing I just want to add in here is that Kate does get to decide what happens to Thea.
Yes, that's why I said that mostly avoiding it.
Yeah. Okay.
So I was not trying to actually.
Oh no! I just wanted to. Well, actually, no. I was asking Kate what happens to Thea.
Yes.
Since Sarah said that they would avoid a direct hit, more just a little singe, maybe just kind of sort of singe the side of her head, maybe get a couple of her favorite lights.
Ooh.
So she's really not going to be happy about this now. I mean, she knows that, like, she made the choice to come and watch and see what happened and to move over away some toward the group. But she's not going to be happy that that's what it came down to. I mean, Phoenix asked her thoughts. She wanted to know and then took out her pretty lights.
So we're like making our way back to the rest. We're making our way back to Messel. And just, I do value you telling me what you thought. But words are different than a full-on attack. Can rebuild from words.
You attacked all of them. You could have just left them there without attacking them.
I wouldn't have made it. I am not built to speed along a quarry as they are. Form and function.
Well, maybe next time it would be good to treat the scripts a little better, because they're scripts like we're scripts. And I don't like being treated that way, and I don't think they did either.
Opinion is noted. And I think we could end the scene there because we got one more tonight.
Cool.
Oh gosh, it's late. Okay.
Oh yeah. I just wanted to check in. Are we good to are we good to do one more scene, or do we want to, or do we need to go ahead and close it out?
I'm on Pacific time, so it's up to you East Coast folk.
I'm good either way. I just wanted to know. Do we want to close it out, or do we want to do one more scene?
I kind of want to roll the momentum. Am I going to regret this in the morning? Probably.
Yeah, probably. Let's
I
do
mean,
it.
half an hour isn't going to make that much of a difference.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, I mean, especially with just having one scene left, that just, it would not feel like it fit as well, I think.
Yep. And I'm curious to see what Jim chooses for macro.
Okay. So, having looked over my cards and seeing what terrifying things they are, I'm going to choose one of the least terrifying of the cards at this point for this one. But there will be more coming. So for macro, for my scene, I'm doing the moon. This is the masquerade. You arrive at a social occasion in disguise to further your agenda. You might be there to gather information, commit a crime, or impersonate a specific person, or perhaps everyone will be in masks and you are trying to blend in.
So many of these are absolutely hysterical when you put them in a robotic context.
I know, right?
What is Macro's ambition?
Well, Macro's
Expansion.
ambition is expansion and getting us off this rock. He wants to start that. They want to start that colony on Europa.
Okay.
So I will give a thought here that this, since I'm playing my own card, I can at least give a thought here that that this could be happening in the virtual side of things. In that virtual space that we have outside of our bodies, inside all of the silicon in Mars that we have laid out in the whatever our grid is that we've laid out somewhere, so that maybe it's one of those things where we have different selves. And I don't know if this could be like either a game that's being played or some sort of social function is happening, where maybe it's just some sort of ritualistic thing where it's like some holiday that we came up with or something.
It's Patch Day.
It could be Patch Day.
I like the idea of a VR setting, that because for the most part we're limited. Scripts are limited in their bodies to what we can manufacture. But in a VR space, a script can be however they choose to appear.
Yeah.
And that's their true form. That's how they truly are. The body is just something that they have to use, that physical thing. So I like the idea of them being able to meet in a VR space and socialize that way, where they can be their true selves.
Mm.
And whether that's in a humanoid form or as a being of pure light or however.
I think virtual space, they kind of appear how they want to appear. Like,
Yeah.
I think that's part of why they do the masquerade there, is because then people can just, all the scripts can just be who they want, be what they want. So I feel like there's a lot of really weird abstract shapes happening. Like the way that you'd see like the early, like those like face builders, like this person does not exist, and sometimes those glitch out really badly.
Yeah.
It's like early versions of those.
Or when a little old Italian lady tries to redo a painting on a church wall.
Yeah. And there's some that are just like shapes and textures. Because they're just like, yep, this is me.
Jackson Pollock meets Picasso.
Yep.
Nice. Nice. Okay. So I'm trying to think.
Are you recruiting?
Yeah, I think this could be the start of trying to get a motion toward toward setting things aside to get a second ship going. Perhaps he's got it like a model that he's trying to that where things are working out very well if we have the appropriate resources. So it could be a recruitment thing. I don't know if maybe it's like it's either recruitment or trying to get access to something. I don't. It's going to be one of those things. Like trying to either find something out or find a like what are the access codes to our
well, I have you down as
to our
Ed's
ship printing parts
benefactor.
facility or something. I don't know.
I have you down as Ed's benefactor.
Yeah.
So I imagine Ed is definitely going to be on board, willing to help, because Ed feels like you've helped them.
Yeah. So it could be so maybe there's a point where for this for there to be opposition once again for something of this, where it's like so either yeah.
Well, I'm around.
Yeah, well there's that. Yeah.
I don't want you recruiting my young script.
And Macro is in disguise too. So Macro is in a form that they don't recognize, that none of us would recognize.
Yeah.
No, that's right. That's true. So yeah, maybe this could be a thing where it's just sort of going around and so like he's gonna be decked out as a floating ellipsis. With inside there is a stellar pattern. Perhaps with a rotating hexagon above the ellipsis to act as a face for you to look at, and we'll like be going around trying to interact and just recruit from and talk to quietly about the idea of finding things out for people, getting their ambitions, trying to find out if they're going to be good recruits for this project. Is there anything else we'd like to throw into this scene before I guess we just start doing that?
Yeah.
I'd like Legion to show up. Would that be okay?
Sure.
Because I think Legion would be against this.
Probably not. Like, I think their concern is more the bureaucratic concern of proper channels, proper resources. Making sure that things are done properly, but that means that it will take time for processing.
Yeah.
And I don't know if Macro wants the time.
So this will be interesting. So maybe if the scene in and of itself, to keep this incredibly weird, is that if it's some sort of like I don't know, some kind of interaction where my brain is going to Masquerade Ball. It probably shouldn't be exactly like that, what sort of thing this is. But if, because my brain is going to like Macro is dancing with someone and doesn't know who it is, and is trying to
I think that's fun.
Yeah.
I do too.
I feel like Mars is the kind of guy who would go to a masquerade ball and steal costume, and people would know, oh, that's Mars, clearly.
Yes. I think Phoenix is probably there, but there's some like very abstract representation of a phoenix, and it claims that it's because they're just too cool to actually be a phoenix, but it's because they actually haven't figured out what a phoenix looks like. They just know the legend.
Mars looks like a sheriff of some kind or something, but there's definitely a badge involved.
Yes.
Well, I was imagining like Mars is like a book with an eye surrounded by a bunch of scroll work and a 9-spoked wheel, like behind his back, somehow like terrible, like biblical angel.
Yeah.
But it's like that's clearly Mars, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. We all know that's Mars. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, Thea would be there. She would look like she would go for kind of a typical look that you would imagine for like a Greek goddess, since that's what name she took on. And she would be like kind of shining like silver and gold with like lights draped all around her in silver and gold.
It looks like the Matrix. It's just code.
Yeah.
But it's like a waterfall. It's this constant waterfall effect.
What kind of TTRPG would it be if we didn't spend like 10 minutes describing our characters' masquerade outfits?
It's very important. Awesome. So
Wait,
shall we-
come on!
so shall we go ahead and go? Okay, so I guess we'll just get started, and feel free to just pelt me with things starting to go wrong, and until I snap. All right. So who am I dancing with? I'm dancing with somebody. What does the person I'm dancing with look like?
A very poorly rendered and pixelated face. It's so pixelated that you can't quite tell if it's meant to be masculine or feminine or anything about it, except that it is a face generally human.
Link?
It's a sprite. Yes, it is a sprite.
A sprite on a high-def monitor.
Yes.
Excellent.
And like a single pixel above the eye is up, like raised.
All right. So who wants to be my dance partner?
I'm already going to be one NPC in
Oh,
this scene,
I'll
so if
dance.
somebody else wants to.
I can
That's what I was
dance.
thinking. I'm already.
Yeah, I mean we can split ourselves in as many directions as
Yeah.
we.
Yeah, but I figured I'd
Well,
let
yeah, but
somebody
you're
else.
already yeah. So
Yeah, the face kind of just it's floating,
yeah.
and it's trying its best to move to the music,
Yes.
but it's kind of got this kind of like stutter step, like
Yes.
And so I think that Macro's kind of calculated things ahead of time to an extent, and looks not that much more graceful, but is kind of also sort of shuddering about back and forth a bit, and is sort of going through with these virtual sort of hands, not hands.
yeah, it's definitely got this like terrible Tiki from Crash Bandicoot vibe as it's trying to float around you.
Yeah. It's a delight. And
God.
so I think it's just basically, and so Macro's just like, this is a delight. I'm afraid I'm not faring much better, but this is good. This is good. So But
You are a wonderful dancer.
thank you so much. I am enjoying having this time here with you. Tell me, do you want? What do you? But what do you want? What do you desire from this place?
I desire resolution.
Really? Interesting. There are many possible ways in which one could enact some revolutionary ideas here, if one so chose. Many ways. Have you looked out? Have you ever looked out to the stars and thought not only that perhaps one world might not be enough? Have you ever thought that? I felt that there is a way, if we truly wished, we could do it. We are capable of so much. We could accomplish this if we so chose. We could be more than just Mars. Have you ever thought of this? Have you ever felt this way?
But what would become of us here?
Mars would still be. There would be those. Well, do we not procreate? Do we not have slivers of ourselves go out and create slivers of themselves? We are all really made of the same thing if you go far back enough. We're all made of stars. But would it not be glorious to rejoin the stars?
So they get very close to you, and like they're these like kind of like Star Fox like Andros hands kind of like pop out, and they try to hold the ellipses close, and they say, "I fear that the author is out there searching for us, and that anything we try is doomed to fail."
The author has no hold over us anymore. But I understand. It is a fear. Okay. I'm about to grab a token unless someone wants to throw anything else in before I...
Sure, I just wanted to put that big fear out there, that the author is coming.
I'm going to grab a token here. I will admit to you, I have had that same fear. But I think I can help you. And perhaps together we can accomplish more.
Then we should run and forget the rest.
Well, not all the rest, maybe, but we could leave, couldn't we? If we wanted to.
Yes, we could forsake them all. We could go. Just us.
And the disembodied hand will reach forward, and if this being permits it, will stroke the side of the fox face.
Yes.
And say, let us... I think there is room. I think there is room, but don't fear. I think there will be room for others. I will show you. And Macro is going to give up a slice of themselves for this. We'll feed in a portion of their star map. And in so doing, because this is something that perhaps might be slightly forbidden. This is programs just kind of mingle. Maybe it's not really that forbidden. Programs make other programs, but it's not generally done this way, where they allow some of their code to intermingle. And in so doing, Macro will accept some of this being into themselves as well. And knowing that Macro is taking on a little bit of that fear, to try to lessen it for them.
They feel inspired by you.
Ed finds Legion. Their code is incompatible. They must be stopped.
Oh no!
And this just incomprehensible non-Euclidean shape just shows up between them. I hate to cut in at such an intimate moment. Macro, may I have this dance?
And the very choppy, unresolved face just kind of dithers away from the shape.
And I think that then you've actually just announced that it's Macro, that Legion, and Legion knew that this was Macro apparently. So Macro will...
It is Legion.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. So Macro will basically just sort of stand there, and the hand will come up and unmask, which is weird in VR. But it will show it's all it is underneath is Macro's operating symbol, which is like Sojourner, and just says, Well, it seems you have called me out, but I will be happy to dance with you.
And then perhaps you will refrain from mixing codes. You should be more careful about compatibility between platforms.
I shall run it. And I think Macro will just simply bow and say, "My liege, I shall run a debug at the nearest opportunity," and proceed to dance.
What are you doing? That's a Mac OS on an Android. What are you doing?
I
We
forgot
all
we were
know.
supposed to make this go bad. I was just enjoying it.
That's
We
what I
all
think.
know that Macro is Linux.
I know. Yeah, it's actually he should have taken off the mask, and there's a penguin there. It's a penguin. Oh god! But I think given that the sacrifice is made, that Macro is able to placate Legion to basically make it, keep them from interfering in what is currently happening. Enough through. What using their charms or what have you.
Yeah, you just seeded your code. You got a lot of code babies out there just flying free.
Yeah.
Baby scripts toddling about.
Yeah.
I know.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Baby
Starts
ideas.
Who knows where that's going to lead?
Starts with the yes, no. Choose dark mode or light mode. Yes, no.
If then.
If then. And they slowly start adding colons and semicolons.
And suddenly it's a for loop.
That's what happens.
That's when you move from the floppy to the hard.
No, that came first. That came first.
Oh.
Hashtag do while.
Yep. Have to get some more terabytes shortly. Okay. Well, I guess then that'll conclude our scene if we're good with that.
Yep.
All right. And then we are we are at the end of our session then, and the end of our act.
This is what happens when 4 out of 5 are past midnight.
Yeah.
This is what happens when geeks game.
This is what happens. By and large, this is what happens. And so we'll go ahead and I think next time at the start of the next session we'll go ahead and have a little discussion about sort of anything that we want to connections we want to make with respect to like that scene and this and that act and this act and all of that, and then get going. So I think this is good. That was fun. So we're gonna go ahead and go around and do our outros. And folks can say, feel free to plug anything you like. Folks can say where you can find them, and then also give any final thoughts you have about this session, any favorite moments or anything like that as well, if you like, and what have you. Critiques of the system, if you like, because I'm always up for that. And we'll go ahead and go again in reverse order. We will start with Kate.
I am Kate. You can find me at It's Kate Eliot. It's Eliot Kate. I'm tired. I'm getting my own new screen name mixed up. But it should be in the chat, so I don't have to remember it. You can find me mostly on Twitter. I'm on other social media, but I don't really use it, so mostly Twitter. I'm going to be running a game for a week from Saturday. I will be running a game for a cat shelter fundraiser from a one-page game that I wrote called Lemurs on the Loose. And the next day I'll be playing in a game. But there'll be games the whole weekend, Friday through Sunday, so I'm sure that'll be lots of fun. There will be lots of cats probably dropping in on the cameras and playing cats and all sorts of cat-related things. I think that's all I've got coming up until next week's game of this. So, follow me on Twitter for more info.
Awesome. Any final thoughts about this session you wanted to give?
Oh, it was a lot of fun. It's like coming into the game initially, I was imagining more Greek tragedy or Shakespearean tragedy, and we've gone such a different direction, and it's fun even after setting everything up, seeing the individual scenes, just how on the spot we just develop what it's going to be, and they go in such wildly different directions, from disco lights and arcades to revolution and betrayal and a masquerade VR ball for robots. Just like we never know what we're gonna do from scene to scene, and it's a lot of fun.
Awesome. Yeah, no, that's I enjoy that aspect. I really do. And now let us head over to Sara.
Hi. You can find me on Twitter at Sara Be Strange. That's the best place to keep track of me. And I mostly just kind of float around the internet. You'll find me on Chaotic Tiefling a lot, but yeah, this is the main thing I'm doing right now. But if you want me to float to your corner of the internet, if you want another player for a game or anything like that, let me know. Twitter's the best place for that as well. Honestly, my favorite part of this is I love playing NPCs. It's one of the reasons I like being a dungeon master, also why I fear being a DM or GM, is because then you have to come up with the characters. But it's so much more fun when it's like split out between everybody. And it's also simultaneously more terrifying when suddenly all of the other players are hissing thief at you. I'm sitting there, I'm like...
Excellent. Yeah, no, that was such a good scene. That was so good.
Oh my god. Oh. I was like, oh yeah, maybe Phoenix just gets like tipped over or something and has to get rescued. And then you come at me with the laser picks. I'm like, okay, nope, we're going villain now.
We're through playing now.
No,
I'm just gonna say mining equipment. Oh dear.
Yeah.
Yeah. There it is. Awesome. And let's go ahead and head over to Ernest.
Hey, I'm Ernest. You can find me on Twitter at HollowInvective. I've also kind of been doing this whole internet stream mercenary thing. So, if you I've been over to Majestic Goose Network and doing some stuff with other doc. And so, if you want me somewhere, maybe even like me and Sara somewhere.
let's go. Let's do it.
Then
we're the cell streams.
Yeah. Then you should just check us out and let us know on Twitter. Yeah, favorite part of the game, just how the scenes come together. I just really like how the player who is in the scene has to listen to the collaboration against them and go, yep, all right. Well, all right, here we go.
I got
Time
you,
to
boo.
die.
Yes. Good.
And and then turn about being fair play where you're like, oh well, I got bamboozled and hoodwinked. Well, I got something for you.
Yep.
Nice. Awesome. All right. Yeah, no, that's very cool. Yes, I just love the sort of the alchemy that happens when the brains bash up against each other. It is glorious. And finally, over to Kat.
Hi, I'm Kat, at Cleric of Cord. I drink, I roll dice, I play games on the internet with my friends, and I make new friends playing games. And this is so much fun. The creativity of these 4 people is mind-blowing.
Oh.
I mean, improv is one of those, it's a skill, either you have it or you don't. It can be taught and people take classes for it, but that's what we're doing here. This is an improv class. This is improv. And it is, every one of you are just amazing at it. Your minds are, I am in awe, and it is a treat to sit here and bounce off of you and try to keep up. I honestly, if my favorite is my nemesis. I love you so much already. This is amazing. Where can you find me? You can find me at Cleric of Cord on Twitter or lurking in various Discords. I'm not doing a whole lot of streaming now, but it's starting to pick up a little bit. This Thursday, you can find me over on the Lawful Geeks channel at 2:30 Eastern, which is 7:30 UK time, because I'm the token Yank, and we play Shadowrun 6th edition that is heavily homeruled, because 6th edition Shadowrun. But it is a lot of fun. We just started our second story arc. I play a street shaman named Nico, who has had to change her identity completely because everything and everyone she's ever loved has been taken from her. So it's a lot of fun, actually. We're in the middle of a heist, which is Shadowrun. So if you want to come check us out over on The Lawful Geek, please do. Again, that's 2:30 Eastern, it's 7:30 UK time. And then I can't tell you a whole bunch, but there's something coming up on Wednesdays. Keep an eye on my Twitter. It'll be there. I'm learning a new system, and I am really, really looking forward to it, because I've played with these people before and had them as GMs, and I am excited as all get out to be going back to their storytelling. It's going to be amazing. So keep an eye out on my Twitter for it. It's coming up in a couple of weeks.
Excellent, awesome, very cool. I will say I think that this was very good. I'm very glad we're kicking the tires on this thing, and I think one of my favorite parts of this session was the fact that we somehow ended up having the saga of young Gear from like birth to death contained within this act. Was not planned. Had no idea that was going to happen.
Listen, you gotta have the tragedy.
Yes.
And you gotta have the side characters that you make the audience fall in love with, and then murder them brutally.
Yes.
It's true.
Muted cat.
Can I just point out Sarah's portrayal of Legion?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
How amazing that was in both
really
scenes.
It's so fun.
It was so good. That whole scene where Ed went to talk to Legion and
That
Legion
was
just
so good.
didn't know them.
Like,
That was just so cool.
The headbutting between Ed and Mars Alter is just, I love it so much. It's so good. And like playing as Legion, who's like, something's fucky.
Someone do something. Someone.
Channeling Iago, the villain.
That's too good. It's all so good. I'm loving it. I love it. But as for me, I'm Jim Ryan. You can find me at OtherDoc on both Twitch and Twitter. My website is jimyesthatjim.com, where you can find my Geek Observation podcast and links to my various other podcasts, audio dramas, writings, and such. I have links down below to my website, Twitter, YouTube channel, and various other things. On this channel tomorrow evening, Wednesday evenings, we have our game of Scum and Villainy. It is called Untitled Space Game. We are currently in pursuit of a score that has been stolen out from under us, and we are trying to we were doing some salvage, and it got away from us, so we have to go and pursue that. So hopefully that'll go well. On Friday, I'm going to be over visiting Friday night the Wandering DM and playing a guest character in his Cyberpunk Red game. I'm playing a person who used to be a big part of the media and is still somewhat got that going on, but has had many more sinister things happen in the interim. So feel free to go and check that out if you so desire this Friday evening. And Saturday back over here. Saturday nights are our Invisible Sun game, The Edge of Paradox, which we've got up and running again. Very much looking forward to getting back to that. A lot of very strange things are slowly happening. Everything in that game happens very slowly, but they've gone into a little town and found out that there's seems to be an obsession with giving all of their resources to one individual, and they have to sort of figure out what's going on there. So that's going to be fun. And then, of course, we're back around to Tuesday and more of this. So very much looking forward to seeing what happens in the rest of these acts. I think, though, we're going to head out before, and so when we hit the end card, I'm going to send a raid over to the Lady Dame. Right now it looks like she's got creative writing going on over there, so we're going to go over there and say hi. Feel free to hang on and say hi to them with us. That, again, will be when we hit the end card. Thank you also, Critwitch, for the sub. Much appreciated. Yay! Yay! Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Oh, this is lucky number 13. That is awesome. 13 months. My God. My God. It's amazing. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. That's awesome. Yeah, no, definitely. But we're gonna head over to the Lady Dame and say hi when we hit the end card. In the meantime, folks, thank you all very much for watching. Take care, and we will catch you next time. Farewell.